It ran for 8 seasons on the Discovery Channel.
Dirty Jobs, that was the ultimate immersed show.
And a very
Now Mike's about to come clean.
It never would have happened without Evening.
Evening, as in Channel 5's Evening Magazine.
You can do it right here.
In 2001, Mike started working at KPIX.
I'm not even sure what a camembert is.
He was hired to co-host Evening with Malou
St. Pauli
Nubla.
girl, complete with the beer stein.
See where we take you. What? I am who?
It's all happening right now.
In our archives, a treasure trove of their outtakes and bloopers. These days, Rowe is a best-selling author, but also a leading advocate for skilled labor. He's awarded nearly $7 million in work ethic scholarships and has led a national effort to reintroduce shop class into high schools.
See?
On our 75th anniversary, we're happy to include Mike Rowe in the celebration.
That's not bad.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear KPIX. Thank you for hiring me way back in 2001 to impersonate a host on that little show called Evening Magazine. Happy birthday to you, and many happy returns.
Well, hey, Mike can sing too. Well, to watch more stories from our archives, just head to kpix.com. Really fun to watch all that. Well, thank you so much for watching the news. It continues streaming on CBS News Bay Area. Have a great day.
I'm Ryan Yamamoto. This is The Minute. Today is expected to be one of the busiest travel days this holiday season. More than 1.4 million travelers are expected to go through TSA at the 3 major airports right here in the Bay Area. The holiday travel season is expected to continue until January 2nd. A man wanted for stabbing and killing a man and injuring a woman in Pacifica is dead. The CHP says Jason Gillenwater shot himself in Ukiah. He was wanted for the double stabbing at a home on Naomi Avenue yesterday. Police believe it was a case of domestic violence. The UN Security Council has passed a resolution to expedite humanitarian aid to Gaza. It also demands the release of hostages, but does not call for a ceasefire. This comes a day after a UN report found that more than 500,000 people in Gaza are starving. The Bay Area's only primetime newscast, 8 and 9 p.m. on the all-new PIX Plus 44 Cable 12.
Since Sunday, we've seen some really heavy showers sweep throughout the Bay Area, giving us about 7 inches of rain in areas like Ben Lomond, about 5 inches all the way up into Santa Rosa. Now, that died off yesterday. Today and yesterday, it's pretty mild for us throughout the Bay Area, and we're going to continue to see dry conditions into this weekend as that area of low pressure moves to the south, giving Southern California some light showers. But back up here in the Bay, we're dealing with just a mix of sun and clouds throughout the next couple days. It'll be a beautiful weekend ahead of Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and then after Christmas, as we head into next week, that's when we see the next chances of showers return into the forecast as early as Wednesday. So keep that in mind if you have loved ones traveling back home from the holiday season, or maybe if you are planning on coming back home yourself. Now let's take a look at what's happening for us today throughout the Bay. For the most part, we're talking about mid to low 60s in the forecast for us. It'll be a beautiful afternoon all the way up into areas like Santa Rosa. We're expecting upper 60s there, almost 70s. Can you believe that? And it's the first full day of winter. It's also going to be breezy up in the North Bay today. Wind speeds anywhere up to around 20-25 miles per hour at times near Santa Rosa and Petaluma. The winds will be a lot more light off to the East Bay and all the way into the Santa Clara Valley we go. Speaking of upper 60s, we're expecting the same thing all the way over into San Jose. So a beautiful way to kick off the weekend, right? Let's dive in a little bit more into the weekend and into early next week. Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, Sunday and Monday. We're expecting upper 50s in the forecast for us all throughout the Bay Area. Anywhere from our inland areas like Concord down into San Jose and even along the peninsula for our friends closer to San Francisco and Redwood City. It'll be a beautiful mild forecast for us as we head into this weekend. By mid next week, there's those showers returning into the Bay Area as early as Wednesday with partially cloudy skies heading into next week.
Well, they lacked affordable housing in the Bay Area is making it extremely difficult for former foster care kids to find a new place to live once they age out of the system. There's an estimated 390,000 children in foster care in the United States. Little less than 50,000 of them are right here in California. That's according to the California Child Welfare Indicators Project. Their numbers also show there are nearly 4,000 foster children here in the Bay Area alone. And our Kenny Choi is in the North Bay with a young man who has aged out of the system where initiative to try and provide affordable housing to people like him, well, it's already making an impact.
This is how basically the song runs.
Alex Masters is looking for freelance work removing trees during the winter. He's been in the foster care system since he was 13.
This is just an extra way to make money.
He just rebuilt the chainsaw he bought secondhand after learning a new skill as a seasonal firefighter for Marin County Fire.
We take them apart and clean them and put them back together almost on a daily basis.
The 22-year-old recently moved into his own apartment for the first time, but it took nearly 3 years to find transitional housing.
A lot of children, they either get bounced around a lot because they don't connect well with the parent, or another issue is there's just not enough homes in Marin.
Ashley Hurd of the Marin Foster Care Association recently spearheaded an effort to acquire a 10-unit complex in Novato with the help of donations and loans. Foster children who age out of the system pay rent. It's one way of addressing the housing need amid the shortage of foster homes for younger children.
An apartment like this for a teen that's coming into adulthood really gives them that sense of hope and that someone cares about them.
Hurd says landlords often refuse to lease units to young adults in the foster system. She has had to place many of them into temporary hotels. The County Department of Health and Human Services says there's on average 80 children in the system, but just 35 foster families in Marin.
I feel very lucky to have had connected with my foster dad. he's just a really great parent.
It's so important as a human being to show that you are gonna love a kid, love a person, regardless if they're your biological family member.
Living on his own is giving Alex a new perspective at a critical juncture in his life.
Being independent and being able to take care of myself and learning what it's like being an adult.
With a new place secured, he can focus on his next mission.
I have a lot to be thankful for with my past, and just any way I can give back and help serve people. It's just an amazing thing. It's an amazing job, and I'm so grateful.
He wants to become a full-time firefighter and maybe a foster dad one day.
County supervisors voted to approve $500,000 to help purchase the new apartment complex for foster young adults. And new developments in the fight to save one of the new affordable places to live in Palo Alto. We're talking about the Buena Vista Mobile Home Park. The Santa Clara County Housing Authority announced it will and has received $24 million to redevelop the community. The money will ultimately add more affordable housing to the area, and right now, more than 260 residents live in Buena Vista. In Oakland, authorities are beginning to clear out abandoned boats and vessels illegally anchored around the estuary. It comes after nearby boat and business owners reported pirates ransacking their property, even stealing some boats. The people who live on those boats being cleared out say they have nowhere else to go, but their neighbors say they are fed up. Right now, the entire Oakland Police Department has only one full-time Marine Patrol officer. They told us they are training more. Our Leslie Gooden shows us why the city says the situation has reached a breaking point.
You are looking at trash and broken parts from boats that were illegally anchored here at the estuary. Now, I spoke with a neighbor named Robert who tells me that he's been wanting something to be done about this and the crime that comes with it, adding that it's long overdue. Robert, his wife, and dog Kona live along this narrow waterway separating Oakland and Alameda after falling in love with it years ago.
Been here for 10, 11 years.
But says the crime and the number of people illegally living in boats has gotten out of hand.
You can't have these derelict boats dumping all this. I mean, there's the sewage issue is a big one. There's the oil and batteries and pollutants that are on almost all these boats going into the water.
On Thursday, he woke up to some relief.
Looked over here and saw several boats that were familiar to me with anchor outs gone. And I thought, well, that's strange. And then I saw that dark gray Oakland police boat go by towing.
He discovered that OPD's Marine unit removed 13 abandoned vessels.
Boats with stickers with the actual abandoned boat policy on the boat, as well as a date when the boat needs to be moved or taken out of the water. And if that isn't complied with, then we're here today removing those vessels.
One by one, Robert watched with mixed emotions as the boats were removed from the estuary.
Happy and sad. I've been advocating to get rid of these boats because of the environmental damage that they're causing and other problems that they're causing.
Adding illegal boat encampments like this are the norm here.
This is one of the worst homeless encampments here on the estuary. And I think that there's probably quite a few of these people that have no other place to go.
He tells me that he has compassion for those illegally living on the boats and hopes the city will connect them with the necessary resources like social services. And Robert says he would like to see this removal happen more, and OPD says it will in 2024.
And still ahead on CBS News Bay Area, it will be another Christmas without fresh local crab on the table. How this latest delay to the season is putting livelihoods in limbo. Plus, a battle over homeless suites could make it all the way to the Supreme Court. The perspective from someone refusing shelter in San Francisco. How he's trying to improve his neighborhood by staying on the streets. And how gingerbread houses are helping to fight climate change using cookies and frosting. All to explore more sustainable ways of living.
We must make it clear that we aren't going to let our political forces and the politicians ignore Vietnam in 1968. This must be an issue if that tragic war is still going on. And so as the war hawks escalate the war in Vietnam, we must escalate our protest against the war.
Throughout the Bay Area today, we're sitting well above average for our daytime highs. Down into the Santa Clara Valley we go. We're almost into the 70s, and today is the first full day of winter. Here in the Bay Area, we're expecting mid-60s anywhere from San Jose off into Livermore, and the more east we go, well, the more mild it gets. We are expecting gusty conditions into this afternoon up in the North Bay. Keep that in mind if you live near Santa Rosa, Petaluma, even down into Nevada. We can see wind gusts up to around 25, 30 miles per hour, just around that 3 o'clock hour. It's a lot lighter for our friends near San Francisco today at 61 degrees this afternoon.
Well, in Oakley, a community is searching for answers, and investigators are looking into leads after a pizza delivery driver was shot and killed in front of his own home. This happened just after 5 Wednesday afternoon. Police say 24-year-old Gabriel Stewart was just sitting in his car in front of his house taking a break from his job when another car pulled up. Someone got out and fired shot after shot on the normally peaceful street.
It's a nice neighborhood. I mean, we're raising kids here, and, you know, it's kind of sad to have something happen like that so close to home.
Oakley's police chief says nothing points to this being a targeted shooting. Investigators looking for help from the community. There's an ongoing legal battle over the rights of the unhoused and how to handle the widespread encampments in California. The Supreme Court could decide next year whether to take up the issue of homeless sweeps. The city of San Francisco, Governor Newsom, and about 24 other cities have asked the court to hear an appeal of a ruling by the Ninth Circuit. A federal judge cited the ruling to block San Francisco from clearing camps without first offering adequate shelter space. The Ninth Circuit Court since clarified the injunction does not protect people who refuse offers of shelter, but it's raised questions about how to define who is voluntarily homeless. Our Lauren Tom's got some perspective from an unhoused man who has found his purpose by, well, staying on the streets.
Because I really don't think of very much of what I'm doing, you know.
Rain makes Ralph Wade's unofficial job as cleaner of Ellis Street harder.
I clean all that little bitty stuff right there, you know, you spend a half hour trying to sweep it up, you know.
Each morning, he wakes up before the sun and spends hours cleaning debris left by people the night before, debris that he cleaned away just 24 hours earlier.
I do more good here, you know, doing what I'm doing, than someplace else, just sitting around, getting bored.
He's been cleaning this part of the Tenderloin for 8 years and chooses to live in a tent on the sidewalk. But unlike businesses and residents who have shooed encampments away, locals fight for Ralph to stay and keep up his tidying, a chore he does using his own money.
Yeah, it costs me about $60 a week, plus the disinfectant, $12 bottle of pine sol 3 times a week, that's $36 right there.
In the month of November, the city says they offered shelter to 350 unhoused people, and less than half of those people, just 117, accepted. And Chris Calandrillo of Episcopal Community Services says while this number is unsurprising, each person has unique needs and preferences for housing.
People often don't accept the first offer. They need time to build a relationship, to build the trust, especially people that have been in the system before and they feel like the system hasn't served them. It takes a lot to bring them back inside.
As of this week, 429 people remain on the city's waitlist for housing, and while for some the system will work in their favor, for Ralph, he's taking matters into his own hands.
I'm not going to wait on them, If I have some patience, something will come up.
A retired baker, Ralph says he can afford to rent a place and just started his search as aging in his tent has started to take a toll on his back. But his top priority is staying nearby, keeping Ellis Street between Taylor and Jones clean and a protective eye on a nearby senior living facility.
That's where my heart is right there. If I forbid something happened and then now it's someplace on the other side of town I couldn't get here, There's a lot of people there. They're going to need help getting out of there if something does happen.
Ralph says he chose this way of life after living nearby in the 80s. But drugs and crime, he says, have created an entirely different culture for unhoused people.
All of them super to me, even the police, they've been cool. You got a certain faction of people out here that are making it bad for everybody else, and that's not fair.
Rain or shine, Ralph says cleaning Ellis Street gives him joy and purpose, with no plans to stop.
I believe in my heart that I'm gonna find a place, and it's gonna come about. I don't know how. The Lord works in mysterious ways, you know what I mean? And if it doesn't, my tent's sufficient enough to keep me going,
As for what's next in the legal battle over sweeps, the San Francisco City Attorney's Office tells us they're waiting on the Ninth Circuit to rule on a few other issues in their appeal. That is expected to happen early next year. After that, a further appeal could be taken up by the Supreme Court. Well, any cravings for fresh local crab? Well, that's going to have to wait until next year. The people who earn their living catching the Bay Area favorite has been anxiously waiting for word on when they will be able to start their season after 5 years of delays. But now there is some light at the end of the tunnel. The State Department of Fish and Wildlife announced on January 5th as the opening date for crab season for the far northern part of the state. Fishermen can start harvesting Dungeness crab. That's between Sonoma and Mendocino counties and the border with Oregon. But crab fishing south of that is still on hold. It's all in an effort to protect migrating humpback whales and sea turtles from getting caught in trapped gear. And while it might not be much of a surprise, it does not make the blow any less painful for fishermen missing out on their prime time for sales. Our Jose Martinez looks at the ripple effect of another Christmas without crab.
I'm here in Sausalito where the anticipation hangs in the air as the traditional crab season faces another delay, a complicated challenge for local fishermen and business owners. It's a sheer frustration for many people in the San Francisco Bay seafood industry like Kenny Bella.
So when you take away Dungeness crab season, you take away 100% of their ability to make a living. Without that one fishery, they have nothing to fall back on.
He's the co-owner of Fish Restaurant in Sausalito and is responsible for 2 Dungeness crab boats.
This is year 6 or 7 where we haven't had local Thanksgiving crab. Doesn't seem that it's a local tradition anymore.
It's the result of yet another delay in the start of the commercial Dungeness crab fishery, which was set to start on November 15th.
We try to navigate that path with finding areas where it might be open. So right now we find ourselves with the Oregon coast is open, and we are pro-fishermen. We are pro-supporting fishermen, and especially fishermen that are fishing here just to the north of us while we wait for our local season.
And the show must go on, at least here and at other restaurants like Fog Harbor Fish House and Pier 39, one of Kenny's customers.
We have some crabs that came in this morning. The guys cooked them up and cleaned them out, ready for service. We're going to roast them in the oven to order or steam them, however the guests order them. Ready to go.
For Bob Partwright, head of a few restaurants on Pier 39, this delay means changes on the menu.
We like to have a crab menu that we offer every year when it's local crab season of about 20 crab dishes. And unfortunately, this Christmas time, we're not offering that due to the fact that it's not the local crab, and the price point of the northern crabs are a little bit more than when we see our locals open.
And that's why Kenny tells me he's now looking forward to next year.
I know that those folks out there are not thrilled that there's not a local product for us this year, but we will hold on hope. We'll have Valentine's Day crab, I hope, will be a new holiday to celebrate with local Dungeness crab.
The next update from Fish and Game will come on January 11th. Recreational crab fishing can happen with some restrictions between the Mendocino and Sonoma County line and Big Sur. Fishermen have to use hoop nets and snares instead of traditional traps and pots, all to protect the whales. Still ahead, new research finds that not everyone with kidney disease needs dialysis. We're going to hear from the Bay Area doctors behind the study that could improve the lives of patients. And a reminder, you can stream CBS News Bay Area wherever, whenever. Catch all of our live newscasts plus news and weather updates throughout the day. Find us on the free CBS News app or on Pluto TV.
Thousands of youngsters, some of whom have brought their parents, are gathered here at San Francisco International Airport to greet this historic day. This historic day being the arrivals of the Beatles here at the airport. What is it that you like about the Beatles?
I like their hair.
Which one of the Beatles is your favorite?
George!
This is Rod Cherry at Beatlesville, San Francisco International Airport.
Throughout the Bay Area this morning, we woke up to some really foggy conditions closer to San Francisco, but into this afternoon, it'll clear up down into the Santa Clara Valley with upper 60s in the forecast today near San Jose. Can you believe that? It's the first full day of winter, and we're dealing with well above average temperatures. Upper 60s there, upper 60s off into the East Bay near Antioch this afternoon. And the more north we go, well, I will say this, the more breezier it gets into this afternoon. If you live near Santa Rosa, where we're also expecting upper 60s, or even Petaluma for that matter, we could see wind gusts anywhere up to around 30 miles per hour at max. So just keep that in mind. A little bit breezy for us up in the North Bay. Other than that, it's just a mix of sun and clouds into the afternoon hours today, tomorrow, and as I advance the clock all the way into Christmas Eve, which is Sunday, and then Christmas Day on Monday, we're seeing a similar trend, just a mix of sun and clouds. All the showers are to the south of us for now, as that area of low pressure that brought in all that rain earlier this week continues to impact California. Luckily, it's just Southern California now. And then back here in the Bay, we're actually getting a breath of fresh air with dry conditions into early next week.
Well, kidney disease is growing at an alarming rate. According to the U.S. Department of Health, more than 750,000 people in the U.S. have kidney failure. Many patients are told they will need dialysis to survive, but a new UCSF study is showing that not everyone needs the same treatment. And as our Liz Cook shows us, for some, dialysis doesn't need to be a life sentence.
For Liddy Lawson, moments like these spent in the kitchen feel like a gift.
It's just kind of my love language.
It's also what helped her get through the most challenging time in her life. It all started October of 2020 when Liddy started feeling sick.
My white blood cell count was through the roof, and they suspected leukemia.
She immediately started chemotherapy, and for a moment, it looked like she was out of the woods.
During my consolidation chemotherapy, my kidney functions dropped. My lungs filled with fluid, and my heart stopped twice.
Liddy spent 51 days in the ICU. Because of COVID protocol at the time, Liddy's mom, Debbie, could only talk to her over FaceTime. When she woke up, she was on 24-hour dialysis.
I had no idea why, because I knew I came in for cancer. I didn't realize I was in kidney failure as well.
The treatments made her miserable.
It was definitely times where I was like, this is it. I think I'm dying. This is not, it's just not working.
Her weight plummeted to just 87 pounds. She was placed on a feeding tube, and there was no end in sight.
I didn't feel like I could have much of a future with going in to have sessions 3 times a week for 3.5 hours a session.
She started baking to help distract her from the pain.
And so I decided to start making them all cookies. So I would take cookies to my crew and just to try to cheer them up.
Then a ray of hope. Dr. Chi Shu is the chief of the Division of Nephrology at UCSF. He, along with Dr. Ian McCoy, were conducting a study on how patients with acute kidney disease requiring dialysis are currently being managed at outpatient dialysis clinics. Patients like Liddy, who were young and didn't have any comorbidities.
I think to understand that acute kidney injury patients are different from patients with chronic kidney disease, which right now in real life, it appears in real life practice, people are treated very similarly.
Most of the research in acute kidney injury has been on when patients should start dialysis or how much dialysis they need in the hospital, and there's been relatively little research on how to take people off dialysis when they start to recover and how to recognize recovery.
Joining Dr. Shu's study wasn't an easy decision.
That was the only way I had known, was you have to be on dialysis, and here this man's coming in saying, maybe you don't.
It's now been 7 months since Liddy's last treatment. She's in regular contact with Dr. Shu and has to go in less frequently for blood work. A sign in her home reminds her of just how far she's come.
It's nice to be able to see this huge number, and then the no dialysis for 213 days, which is incredible.
Liddy's now training to walk a marathon with her mom and entering in local baking competitions. But maybe the sweetest part is feeling like she finally has a future.
And doctors at UCSF stress that the course of treatment is not for everyone. This study was done on patients who had acute kidney injury caused by a traumatic medical event. In Liddy's case, it was cancer. They stress talking to your doctor before changing treatment. Well, coming up in our next half hour on CBS News Bay Area,
the people who live here really want access and they want cannabis.
A group of East Bay seniors leading the charge to bring pot shops to their city. And if it's the holidays, you know you're going to see gingerbread houses everywhere. And well, in today's Project Earth report, how one such display is showing how we can build a better world.
These are your neighborhoods. This is your world. CBS News Bay Area.
Still ahead on KPIX.
With Juliette Goodrich. And the CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell. Taking you to the day's top stories. Smart, comprehensive coverage. And immersive weather like you have never seen it. Join Juliette Goodrich and Nora O'Donnell. Weeknight 6 to 7:30 on KPIX.
The bus, the 26 children and driver it contained, vanished.
Do you in your own mind have any thought as to why this might have happened? What's going on?
No, like I say, it's just crazy.
The 3 men believed responsible for the mass kidnapping have been apprehended.
Ed Ray is a hero around here, and his exploits will become part of the folklore of this California Central Valley town.
I'm Ryan Yamamoto. This is The Minute. AAA expects tomorrow to be the busiest day on the roads ahead of Christmas. They expect nearly 1 to 4 million people will drive to their holiday destinations. This year's projected number of drivers is the second highest on record after 2019. A group of thieves smashed their way into a jewelry store in Fairfield using hammers to shatter shop windows and display cases. The owners of Sam Jewelers says more than 30% of his merchandise was stolen, including some of his highest priced pieces. Oakland Mayor Shane Tao says there are more police officers on the streets now than any time in the past 2 years. The city's holiday safety push comes with round-the-clock patrols of both uniform and undercover police officers, as well as community safety ambassadors. The Bay Area's only primetime newscast at 8 and 9 p.m. on the all-new PIX Plus 44 Cable 12. I'm Ryan Yamamoto. This is The Minute.
Since Sunday, we've seen some really heavy showers sweep throughout the Bay Area, giving us about 7 inches of rain in areas like Ben Lomond, about 5 inches all the way up into Santa Rosa. Now that died off yesterday. Today and yesterday, it's pretty mild for us throughout the Bay Area, and we're going to continue to see dry conditions into this weekend as that area of low pressure moves to the south, giving Southern California some light showers. But back up here in the Bay, we're dealing with just a mix of sun and clouds throughout the next couple days. It'll be a beautiful weekend ahead of Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and then after Christmas, as we head into next week, that's when we see the next chances of showers return into the forecast as early as Wednesday. So keep that in mind if you have loved ones traveling back home from the holiday season, or maybe if you are planning on coming back home yourself. Now let's take a look at what's happening for us today throughout the Bay. For the most part, we're talking about mid to low 60s in the forecast for us. It'll be a beautiful afternoon all the way up into areas like Santa Rosa. We're expecting upper 60s there, almost 70s. Can you believe that? And it's the first full day of winter. It's also going to be breezy up in the North Bay today. Wind speeds anywhere up to around 20, 25 miles per hour at times near Santa Rosa and Petaluma. The winds will be a lot more light off to the East Bay and all the way into the Santa Clara Valley we go. Speaking of upper 60s, we're expecting the same thing all the way over into San Jose. So a beautiful way to kick off the weekend, right? Let's dive in a little bit more into the weekend and into early next week. Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, Sunday and Monday. We're expecting upper 50s in the forecast for us all throughout the Bay Area. Anywhere from our inland areas like Concord down into San Jose and even along the peninsula for our friends closer to San Francisco and Redwood City. It'll be a beautiful mild forecast for us as we head into this weekend. By mid next week, there's those showers returning into the Bay Area as early as Wednesday with partially cloudy skies heading into next week.
Well, seniors in an East Bay retired community are on a crusade to open up a new cannabis dispensary. The problem is their city has resisted brick-and-mortar cannabis shops for years. Our Kenny Choi introduces us to the woman leading the charge to open the green door.
Renee Lee isn't shy about how marijuana eases her pains.
It just helps with everything.
What does it help with?
Anxiety, pain, life, dealing with life, muscle movement.
The 70-year-old struggled to wean herself from countless prescription drugs.
Flexeril and gabapentin and antidepressants.
Until smoking cannabis 20 years ago.
It helped me to get off all those meds.
National surveys show people over the age of 65 are the fastest growing group of cannabis users in the country. The city of Walnut Creek greenlighted Urban Joy in 2020. It can deliver recreational cannabis products to residents, but is not allowed to open a storefront dispensary.
If that does not happen, it's extremely difficult to survive.
Falguni Dave, the owner of Urban Joy, believes a brick and mortar shop close to the senior community of Rossmore would help residents.
Customers want to come to you. They want to see your face. They want to talk to you, sit there, and then maybe purchase a product, you know?
It's about trust.
It is.
Especially for those who are unsure of what to order and not as well informed about the complexities of cannabis.
They shouldn't have to drive wherever. They shouldn't be forced to have people in their home or have to do it online.
They can lobby all they want. We need somebody who wants to take on the business before it can be anything.
Loella Haskew is the new Walnut Creek mayor who's been at the helm since the beginning of December. Years of armed robberies of dispensaries across California since legalization are a concern.
I don't know that it's a fear, and I don't know that I expect everything to be terrible in Walnut Creek. I expect it to be quite the opposite, and mostly it is. But it is a concern.
Lee, who founded a marijuana club, the second largest behind the Democratic Club at the nearly 10,000 resident community of Rossmore, is pushing for 3 pot dispensaries in Walnut Creek.
Rossmore, the people who live here really want access and they want cannabis.
Without the educational part of it, the wellness center that my vision is, this is just another delivery service. This is just another weed business, and that is exactly what Walnut Creek doesn't want.
They have really made it difficult for us to consume cannabis the way it should be consumed, which is easy access and a lot of education.
Lee continues to battle. The Department of Cannabis Control says more than 60% of California's municipalities still ban the sale of legal weed.
In 2007, less than 0.5% of U.S. seniors reported using pot. As of 2022, it was more than 8%. Well, Reservoirs Project facing another lawsuit. This latest legal challenge claims the massive reservoir site would harm the local ecosystem. Conservation and environmental groups filed this challenge this week. The site's reservoir is about 70 miles north of Sacramento in Colusa and Glenn counties. When complete, it would hold up to 1.5 million acre-feet of water, and some worry it would divert water away from salmon and steelhead habitats along the Sacramento River. And so far, ski season in California is running low on snow. Warm temperatures have cut into the snowpack, and this week stations throughout the Central Sierra are reporting about a third less snowfall than we typically see by this time of year. What this means for skiers and snowboarders? Well, a lot of trails are closed.
Last year we had about 4 feet of snow, so everything was open, the whole mountain. Right now it's, we've had 17 inches the whole season.
For many out to enjoy the slopes, the lack of snow has made for lackluster runs. More snow is in the forecast for the coming week, but it's expected to be concentrated mostly in the higher mountain elevations.
CBS News Bay Area presents Project Earth, The Path Forward.
Well, during the holidays, we see gingerbread houses everywhere, but as Elizabeth Cook reports in today's Project Earth, some very special homes were built to help us reconsider the world as our planet warms.
This holiday season, a very special gingerbread creation is on display. It's an entire city, and the concept is very timely.
The theme for this exhibition is climate change.
As greenhouse gases blanket the Earth, global warming and climate change are in turn altering our world, punishing heat, intense and more frequent weather events, and devastating wildfires. This exhibit looks to inspire the public to think about ways to deal with the impacts of climate change. The project was initiated by a UK-based charity dedicated to promoting sustainable design ideas.
It's 50+ architecture, landscape architecture, and design offices have participated in this exhibition. They've come together to creatively design an entire city, which is edible, a kind of miniature metropolis.
One piece is entitled Raindrop Art Museum. It features candy stairs and a water blue gel symbolizing how building designs can address climate change.
So what we have here is kind of a little stream and river. And you see that the actual water, this blue gel, is running into the river and addressing the multiple changing water level that we see in the future unless we address climate change as soon as possible.
Designers use gingerbread, frosting, and candy to create houses, train stations, bridges, museums, and parks. They were asked to think about how to design and build cities vulnerable to sea level rise, drought, and flooding.
I was thrilled to be invited to show our work because I really like the premise of the exhibition. It's about educating the general public,
cooking up some sweet ideas to whet our appetites to a changing world.
Up next, the Ravens are flying into Levi's Stadium for a Christmas showdown with the Niners. We'll have a preview of that big matchup between the two best teams in the NFL.
Your late night is getting a whole lot better for two reasons. Sarah and Stephen. The Late News with Sarah Donchie. Then The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Back with all new episodes.
Really?
These are two shows you'll want to spend the night with.
Then go to sleep knowing you won at TV. What?
Record it, stream it, watch it live. The Late News and the all-new Late Show. Weeknights starting at 11 on KPIX.
What has happened here tonight, just to recap, 57 Vietnamese orphans from all over Vietnam have been brought safely out of that war-torn country and returned here to Oakland, where they will be adopted. After a war which has left so many scars and so many feelings on the American psyche, tonight, I think, America feels like they're able to do something right, regardless of your politics.
the Bay Area today, we're sitting well above average for our daytime highs. Down into the Santa Clara Valley we go. We're almost into the 70s, and today is the first full day of winter. Here in the Bay Area, we're expecting mid-60s anywhere from San Jose off into Livermore, and the more east we go, well, the more mild it gets. We are expecting gusty conditions into this afternoon up in the North Bay. Keep that in mind if you live near Santa Rosa, Petaluma, even down into Nevada. We can see wind gusts up to around 25, 30 miles per hour, just around that 3 o'clock hour. It's a lot lighter for our friends near San Francisco today at 61 degrees this afternoon.
That was truly a day that altered our times. 1948, KPIX went on the air.
The Beatles are just minutes away.
Well, today is special for us here at KPIX. It's been exactly 75 years since KPIX began broadcasting as Northern California's first television station. And to celebrate, we dug out some of our old film of another very special day. It was June 19th, 1959. There's Willie Mays signing baseball for young fans at the Emporium store on Market Street in San Francisco. A ticket to a Giants game cost less than $2 that year, and Mays was set to draw a winner for some lucky fan to watch a game in the Emporium's box at Seal Stadium. Our very first broadcast went out from the Mark Hopkins Hotel here in San Francisco, so tonight, that's where we'll be. Tune in this evening to see Julia Goodrich reporting live from the top of the Mark for CBS News Bay Area at 6 and 7 p.m. Well, the Niners and Ravens are on the big stage on Christmas night, and as our Matt Lively tells us, Baltimore's feeling a little disrespected.
This is the Volkswagen Red and Gold Report.
The 49ers and Ravens meet Christmas night in a matchup of the two best teams in the NFL. And Baltimore head coach John Harbaugh is hoping his team will grant one of his two Christmas wishes.
World peace and a win. How about that? Okay. I'm not sure in that order. No.
Well, Vegas doesn't think Harbaugh is going to get his wish. San Francisco, a 5.5-point favorite, despite both teams having identical 11-3 records. And that's already fueling Baltimore's fire as they prepare to travel to the Bay Area.
This is only like the second time you guys have actually been not favorites, been underdogs. Will that be used in any of the messaging this week with you?
It was mentioned. Sure. I'm cool. I want them to pick us. I like being an underdog.
We feel a little disrespected by that. I feel like we are the best team in the league, and we got an opportunity in front of the country to show it.
I was a little surprised at that. That kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. I definitely want to make that that be incorrect for sure, and hopefully some people lose some money betting with them and make some money betting with us.
For the Red and Gold Report, I'm Matt Lively.
And you can catch more Niners action on our half-hour Red and Gold Report tonight at 7:30. That's on KPIX and streaming on the free CBS News app. And we'll be getting you ready for the big game on Christmas Day. Football analyst and former NFL safety Tank Williams will be in studio Monday on our morning edition. And coming up, we'll introduce you to a Bay Area mother of three extra grateful to be celebrating the holiday with her family after the gift of a new heart.
Do you intend to make any further protest to your treatment at Forest Knolls?
Yes, quite a number of my friends have urged me to continue in this effort, if I did give it up, that the other 74,000 Negroes in San Francisco would lose a golden opportunity to press the right to at least to be shown a home, whether they're interested in purchasing or not. But I plan to continue to protest.
the Bay Area this morning, we woke up to some really foggy conditions closer to San Francisco, but into this afternoon, it'll clear up down into the Santa Clara Valley with upper 60s in the forecast today near San Jose. Can you believe that? It's the first full day of winter, and we're dealing with well above average temperatures. Upper 60s there, upper 60s off into the East Bay near Antioch this afternoon. And the more north we go, well, I will say this, the more breezier it gets into this afternoon. If you live near Santa Rosa, where we're also expecting upper 60s, or even Petaluma for that matter, we could see wind gusts anywhere up to around 30 miles per hour at max. So just keep that in mind. A little bit breezy for us up in the North Bay. Other than that, it's just a mix of sun and clouds into the afternoon hours today, tomorrow, and as I advance the clock all the way into Christmas Eve, which is Sunday, and then Christmas Day on Monday, we're seeing a similar trend, just a mix of sun and clouds. All the showers are to the south of us for now, as that area of low pressure that brought in all that rain earlier this week continues to impact California. Luckily, it's just Southern California now. And then back here in the Bay, we're actually getting a breath of fresh air with dry conditions into early next week.
Well, a 45-year-old Novato mom of 3 and community volunteer received the gift of life in October, a new heart. Prior to the transplant, she had just a 5-year life expectancy following sudden life-threatening heart issues. And today, the devoted mom and wife is thriving with her new heart. Our Julia Goodrich got a chance to meet her and her family as they celebrate this special holiday.
In 2019, I had a heart attack and I coded. I was in coma for 17 days.
And ever since then, 45-year-old Manuela had 911 instructions posted on a living room wall, since English isn't her husband's first language, and her 3 daughters were away at school.
I have here, 911 and everything about my health history.
That is until a very magical day.
It was magical because it was a day before the solar eclipse, the Ring of Fire.
She learned there was a match for her, a heart donor.
My previous heart was weak, and I felt in my brain I couldn't think very well. I was fatigued all the time. I couldn't really help my family. I had to stop working.
2 months ago, the heart transplant surgery she so desperately needed to live.
I had to wait, but it was uncertain when I was going to have my heart. But yes, here I am.
Tell me about your heart.
My heart, it feels amazing. I can hear my heart every day.
As for her scar,
I'm going to wear it proudly.
Her daughters, ages 13, 19, and 20, say the holiday is special, heartwarming, so to speak, because they know their mom is getting healthier by the day.
You can see that she's like way better than before.
It's a gift, and I am so proud. They are my reason of living.
The family is especially grateful because they know the gift of life means the loss of life to a donor's family.
I'm just grateful. And I'm sending love to the family because it's not easy for them. In order for me to get a new heart, someone has to lose a heart.
Manuela credits the nonprofit called Help Hope Live. It helps recipients set up a fundraising site to help pay for medical costs.
They helped me a lot because I had to stop working.
What's the story about running 5K?
And now, 2 months after her heart transplant surgery, she's already setting some mighty goals for next year.
My goal is to run a 5K.
Marathon?
5K marathon. It's not a marathon, it's a competition. In Hawaii with my family.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, by the end of next year. That's my goal. That's my motivation.
Aloha.
And many costs associated with the transplant and ongoing recovery are not fully covered by insurance. The Help Hope Live nonprofit verifies medical needs and helps patients fundraise through the nonprofit organization. Well, thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ryan Yamamoto. We'll be right back with the First Alert forecast and a look at your top stories.